Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Call It Anything podcast. I am Jack, joined by my guest.
Mr. Solis, who couldn't be more excited to talk about NXT, the Great American Bash.
We are back here today to talk specifically about one event, but also all the wrestling that happened during this week as well, because that's typically what happens on these shows anyways. We get to the end, talk a little bit about everything else that's happening in the wrestling world. But before we get into that, sir, how have you been?
I've been good. Bloomfield, I said a tearful goodbye. I'm excited to start a new chapter in my educational career in teaching at Simon Tech. And in the middle, we've been teaching a few ninth graders some IM1 math that they didn't quite get in the year. Regulation time. We're in overtime. We got 2 more days to do that. How have you been, sir?
Been doing all right. Just been working pretty much. And just been trying to get whatever I can done in, the spare time that I have, whether it's music, wrestling, just trying to get something in there, something to ease my mind off of just work.
All work and no play make Jack a dull boy. You know what I'm referencing there? That's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But when I said it, it occurred to me that his name was Jack in the movie.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've been trying to get more people at my job to call me Jack, because when I started, I had my actual name, but then I changed it to Jack afterwards, and it's kind of been confusing people, and I'm like, I feel like I've had to explain this lore to myself to like so many people, because they're like, I want to make sure, not to upset you, not to I want to know what is it you want. And then I in turn go, people can call me whatever they want. This is just what I'm used to, because this is what I've been called since like the 6th grade, basically. Like, I forgot who I was explaining it to, but I was like, let me put it this way. Like, it's the easiest way to explain it. I have a friend who I've known since the 3rd grade of elementary school, who has known me since then. And in elementary school, I don't think any of my friends called me Jack. Like, I think this friend can tell you, everyone called me, like, Joseph or JC, So, he's known me since then. It wasn't until really, like, middle school that my friends and the name Jack really took over. So, he's known me before all that. If you ask him now, he tells people, hearing people call him Joseph doesn't even sound right, because Jack just sounds, like, correct. Like, that's Jack, that's no one else but Jack. Like, that's the only thing that sounds like normal to them. Like, they're like, when we hear people use your actual name, it throws us off. And
that's funny.
And that's how I explained it to them. I'm like, look, if you guys want to call me Joseph, all fine by me. I'm not gonna ignore you if you call me Joseph and be like, no, you have to call me Jack. I just put Jack because it's what I'm comfortable hearing, and it felt weird hearing people call me my actual name after like 10 plus years of hearing Jack. Especially because most of my family doesn't even call me Joseph. Like, they use shortened versions, like Joe. Like, it's so weird to think like how little my actual name is used, other than in like formal settings, like on a job application.
Yeah. I have a nickname or two. When I was a kid, I feel like Dad was Phil and I was Philip. And when I was a teenager and people wanted to start calling me Phil, I remember it hitting my ear a certain way, going, "Oh, that's weird." Like people being called like Mr. Castillo, you know what I mean? You're like, "Whoa, Mr. Castillo's my father. Like, take it easy there, right?" I remember Phil hitting my ear a certain way, but really, my brother calls me Phil all the time. My sister calls me Phil, and so I've warmed to embrace it. Also, I became a teacher, so like everything's. I'm Mr. Solis. I'm Mr. Solis more than Dad, I think. Who's calling him that?
Yeah, and speaking of that, let's see, 10th grade, that was 2017-18. What is that, like? No, it's not 10. What is that, like? 8 years removed from you being my teacher, and I still call you Mr. Solis?
You can call it till the day I die for sure. Don't you fret. This guy in USC, I took his drawing class in my freshman year, Mr. Richard Parker. And because I'm a fresh baby face out of high school, I called him Mr. Parker. He's the only teacher I called by Mr. last name because everyone else introduced themselves in this cool college setting as just call me Bob, just call me Ron, just call me Ann. And I'll never forget when Mr. Parker goes, Philip, you've more than earned the right to call me Richard. And I said, Mr. Parker, I wish I could explain, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, or like it's so funny that I constantly like refer to people as like sir and ma'am, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I've called a couple people at my job sir only to find out that they're younger than me,
Oh, heck yeah.
and I'm like, well, that's just how ingrained it is in my mind. Like I'll call younger people that even so, like it's
Hmm.
just the way
Hmm.
I. It's funny I say it's just the way that I was raised. My dad would probably tell you, I never raised you like that. Like you. My dad always tells people he's always calling me sir, and I've never once told him to call me sir.
I don't know if you know about any of the Gen Z stuff,
Oh, I've been
but my
seeing about like the Gen Z stare stuff.
my niece had a birthday party and she had friends over and my sister was telling me about it. She's like, "I don't get it, Phil." She goes, they just kept going. They were just like, "Get a load of this guy," and I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like, what did I do?" And they like, "Get a load of this guy."
Oh man.
And then she goes, and I don't get it what this. She says, I don't get what this means. They go, hear me out. I was like, oh, I like that one. That's funny. I said, but some people do it wrong because like they do it about like conventionally attractive people. You're like not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be like, and I like go look down and be like, you see this cup of coffee? Hear me out. And Daisy goes, yeah, I like that.
Oh man. But that's pretty much what's been going on for the two of us outside of wrestling. We are here to talk not about the WWE. I mean, eventually we will. But we are here. I mean, it's AEW. Eventually WWE is going to get brought up. Am I right?
I wish there was a sound effect for tribalism, like that wasn't offensive. I had a thought right away, and I was like, "Don't do that."
Yeah. We are here to talk about AEW All In 2025 taking place in Texas. Big old event because they, for the first time, ran a stadium show here in the States.
Yes.
They've done plenty of big arenas. They've done, I forget what the venue was called for Grand Slam. Arthur Ashe. There we go. But this is a full-on stadium, kind of like how WWE does. We are taking place in Globe Life Field, home of the Texas Rangers, and they packed out quite a crowd. Especially because when I was looking at the seating chart leading up to this, I was like, man, it still seems like there's a lot of like open spaces, but it did not look like that come time for the show.
Yes, sir. It was a good turnout. Good turnout. We'll talk about the crowd. They were a pretty good crowd.
There was only one issue with the crowd, and that was during the pre-show.
I didn't watch the pre-show. Heads up, the 0 hour.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. So, the pre-show, there wasn't really much to tune in for with it. You know, like nothing too crazy on the 0 hour. There was, so it was during the pre-show that it was announced Adam Cole wasn't going to be able to defend his TNT championship, and they announced a fatal four-way. Now, the only issue with that is that they announced two people that were also having a match on the pre-show, which threw a lot of people off. We had Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes teaming with the Von Erichs to face Shane Taylor Promotions. The conglomeration and Big Boom AJ making his return to AEW, facing the Don Callis family. I just have to mention the videos that have come out of Tomohiro Ishii interacting with the Rizzler have been my highlight from All In because it's just.
Jeez, Louise. Oh no, I have to watch this. I have to check it out.
There's a clip of backstage where for some reason Ishii's walking with a cowboy hat and he walks up to the Rizzler and puts it on him and walks away and the Rizzler looks all shocked before hitting his typical Rizzler face. And
But some
everyone's just like the scenes when 15 years later we see the Rizzler competing in the G1 with the spirit of Tomohiro Ishii.
like Jack, you can picture like can you picture like Foley being hoisted by DX when he won his first title?
Yeah.
Can you picture like Stephanie being strung to that TX symbol in the middle of the ring? Like they're like defining images that are burnt in all our minds. The Rizzler and Tomohiro Ishii right up there with them, right there up there with Stone Cold shaking Vince McMahon's hand at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, you gotta seek that video. I'm telling you, it's so funny.
Golly.
It's so funny. And then the reason I brought up that comment about the crowd, the final match of the Zero Hour was FTR versus the Outrunners,
Mhm.
and this made like headlines in the online community when discussions were happening about this, like especially like during the show.
Yeah.
There was a kid in the crowd who, I mean this respectfully and politely, would not shut up. They were screaming loudly during the entire match, like cheering and yelling. And at one point, my dad and I both looked at each other and were like, my dad was like, whose kid is that? I'm like, I have a feeling it's one of these two teams' sons or like one of their kids. Like it has to be
Uh,
like one of FTR's kids or one of the Outrunners' kids because this kid's cheering louder than anyone else for this match. And like so many people
that's
noticed
funny.
it, and someone was even like, "I'm about to ask for a refund if this kid keeps screaming like this the entire show."
Honestly, Jack, it's stuff like that that make me second guess going to shows live. Because, like, you know, the kid, a grown adult who's looking to make himself famous or, looking to get himself over. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate signs. I hate, catcalling or like, trash talking. Like, I stood next to this guy who was laying into somebody, and I remember thinking, he was looking at us, he was looking in our direction, so upset. I'm like, he thinks it's me. Like, I'm just standing too close. Some deep voice guy from this part of the area. I'm like, nope, I'm leaving. Golly. Hey, I went to AEW. I mean, I went to the 300 Dynamite
Hmm.
and the 100th Collision, and the Outrunners and FTR fought then. And that is a match, Jack, that's probably definitely worth checking out. No kid can be heard.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was also you went to a New Japan Resurgence show, and you said like there was two guys like heckling one of the wrestlers too, and it was just like overbearing as well.
Ugh. Get that kid out of there.
But yeah, my dad was like, and the worst part is because of how long this match was, it went like the whole match, and it was like so long.
Ugh.
So it's just like, oh my goodness. But all in, like we said, very big show and a lot of big matches, a lot of big storylines coming to a head. One of, I mean, I will say, there is a point of criticism to mention for almost all the shows that took place this weekend that they were really built within the last couple weeks rather than like a long build. Like there's a couple matches obviously on this AEW card that so much build went into it, but there's also like a lot of matches where it's like, yeah, they were kind of building towards it, but they really waited until the last second to announce some of these match cards, you know?
A real WWE strategy.
Yeah.
Sell a stadium out on 3 matches.
Yeah, that's how I really felt going into this. But hey, three pretty big matches, a lot going into this with a lot of stakes. It was very interesting. It's why I was ready to fully tune into. I mean, I've been tuning into a lot of AEW lately, not as much as be like previous years. But that's to be said about all wrestling this year for me. I'm trying my best, but man, it's hard to find the time sometimes.
Before we move away from the pre-show, I saw on Instagram regarding Big Boom AJ.
Hmm.
They win.
Yes.
They beat the Don Callis family. We got to talk about our predictions too, because I had a horrible weekend. But regarding Big Boom AJ, I saw somebody post on Instagram. They said, "Hey, people who enjoyed this are also complaining about Jelly Roll."
I saw that one. And I saw just so many people going back and forth talking about it's different, like this is on a pre-show, that's going to be on the main show, this and that. I even saw someone say Big Boom AJ used to be a wrestler, so it's fine.
And Jelly Roll has a tattoo on his face, so everyone makes bad choices.
Oh man.
So we're gonna start the main card, good and proper.
Yeah, I just realized I don't think I did predictions for the pre-show, or maybe I think I gave them to you in text, but I didn't write them down. I'll have to double check.
Mm.
But obviously, again, these don't count towards our mainline ones. These ones are just for fun. And speaking of predictions, before we get into this main show, I know I should probably wait till the end to say it, but man, you talk about us, having bad predictions at times, things aging terribly when you go back and listen to old episodes. I mean, sometimes there's good ones, sometimes there isn't. Talk about Mr. Solis's G1 predictions already going down the drain.
Tell me more. Why? Oh wait, what did I see that made me think the same thing? What did happen?
You picked Goto to win A Block and to win. Goto went down with an injury and is going to miss the G1, I believe.
He's not injured. He's gonna go play some guy in Street Fighter. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard that too. He got cast as E Honda.
Yeah, which is incredible if it's true. But okay, if he's out, can my pick apply to whoever takes the spot? Because wrestling loves to give the big win to the last minute entry.
Yeah, we'll go with that. If not, we can default to your B Block winner, Gabe Kidd.
Gabe Kidd's gonna win because they like that guy. He's the coldest white boy in the room or something like that.
But starting the main line of AEW, we started off with the Trios Championships being defended, the Ops versus the Death Riders. Speaking of Gabe Kidd, he's joining the Death Riders in this match.
He's like the Lindsay Dorado of the LWO. Like, it's funny how they kept going, it's the LWO and Lindsay Dorado. Like, let him be a part of it. Why isn't he?
Oh man. But so we get into this one. Pretty good choice for an opener because trios matches are always going to be very chaotic, very energetic, and it's especially going to help uplift a lot of people after like the news of Adam Cole, being forced to vacate because people are like immediately thinking going into the show, all right, vibes are already kind of off with that, like we got to make sure things are on track, so they start off with this match.
Yeah. You know what I like about multi-man matches is like Gabe Kidd and Shibata, Gabe Kidd and Samoa Joe. Little tiny samplings. They're not a full-blown match, but you just get that short interaction we never would see anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. And nothing bad ever happens from sending Samoa Joe out to have the first match on All In. Nothing bad ever happens afterwards.
What happened last time except one of the best matches of the year?
And someone fearing for their life.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. What were your thoughts on this one, sir?
A very standard affair. Something like that I'll maybe bring up later is like the multi-man matches. I get a little tired of them,
Yeah.
There's a lot to keep track of. I was frankly surprised that the Ops were the champions, the ones walking in as champions. I'm like, oh, I have also not been watching a lot of AEW. And I had picked the Death Riders to win because, I thought that the day was going to start with a little doom and gloom. And so it was a hard-hitting affair. Shibata and Gabe Kidd did that old, you love to see it when they do it right, the old just slap fest,
Mm-hmm.
Do it right. People are going to get behind it. They're like, yes, this is entertaining. This isn't boring at all. Lots of color changing in the people's chests. What do you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. I'm still kind of... It's weird that all these years later... I don't know. Something still kind of feels off about the trios titles and the division as a whole. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to think like the peak of those titles was like their inauguration, like the tournament that took place, and like I don't know, it feels like what was meant to be like unique has kind of lost like its luster in a way.
Yeah.
Like you said, multi-man matches, especially when they're doing like the all-star tags and like variations of multi-man matches, it's like I don't know, the trios titles don't seem as intriguing anymore, like it kind of just seems like a default way of getting more people on TV on pay-per-views, by having these extra titles that require 6 people in total,
Mm-hmm.
especially because they haven't really like found a way to differentiate it. And like a lot of people have said, like it's definitely caused the tag division to take a hit at times,
Yeah.
but aside from that, this match, was pretty standard. It was pretty good. I enjoyed a lot of it, uh, and like you said, I was kind of expecting, even though I picked the Ops to win, I was kind of expecting, like how you said, doom and gloom to start the show, because it's like everyone going into the show was really expecting, like, I think it's because we're so used to the way one company has done things for years that we were expecting the same, because it's like everyone was like, they're going to really get your hopes down by having all of the bad people win.
Yeah.
And it really felt that
So
way.
the to build on your point, the trios tag team championships feel hard to celebrate or hard to look forward to, especially since the tag team championships like need so much work. The tag team division, like it's excess. It's like you don't. I don't know if we ever needed the trios tag team championships, but you don't even use the tag team championships right.
Yeah, I know the trios titles were really because of the amount of factions they had. Like you think back to 2022 AEW, it was like there was a lot of factions. Especially, they utilized a lot of factions from outside the wrestling world, and they're doing that now even with like their Forbidden Door stuff. But it's like, I don't know. It really felt like the reason the trios worked a lot, like in those early days, was again because it was like rare, like it was rarely used, and now that they have titles, you kind of start to see that redundancy.
Speaking of redundancy, we brought him up, Dustin Rhodes, right? He's got both the tag team and the trios tag team for Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
yeah, definitely. I don't know. I feel like the trios titles are one of those where it's like it worked better in theory than in its actual application in a way.
Do you think, and I don't want you to feel pressured to have been following New Japan, but have you been following them and do you think they do it well?
Um, I feel like it's even like more redundant in New Japan just because
Yeah.
of their excess of titles. Like they
Yeah.
have the what is it? The never open weight 6-man
Uh-huh.
titles. They have junior tag titles, heavyweight tag titles. So it's like there's so much that they have, and it's just like it feels especially more redundant there at times. I mean, the matches they do work really well. Like I think back to, was it last year or 2023 where the Blackpool Combat Club went out to have a match against, it was like, I think it was Okada, I think it was Ishii, and I forget who else. I don't think it was Tanahashi, or maybe it was Tanahashi. I feel like those three were Neverman open weight, like six man title holders.
That'd have been chaos.
Yeah, I feel like they were title holders at one point last year, the year before. I just remember it was what led to oh, maybe it was 2023 because I think that's when they did the first Danielson Okada match at Forbidden Door, and like that's when they showed the teaser of like Danielson after the match. But I remember like it's kind of the same here with AEW. It's like I think the matches do well, but it's just the stories and like really kind of making those belts feel important doesn't work as well sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially because you kind of look at the trios title like lineage and you're like, it doesn't, like there's a lot of great teams and there's also a lot of lackluster, not really memorable reigns in there.
And I bet it's a lot of teams that aren't even teams anymore at this point.
The Acclaimed aren't a team anymore.
House of Black.
House of
Mm-hmm.
Black. A lot of them were ended shortly by like injuries versus other ones. Like the Death Riders had the titles and they just swapped out Pac for Moxley at one point and then they lost the titles. So it's like you got a lot of reigns like that. So kind of a
Golly.
tough position these titles are in.
Who wins this match, Jack?
The Ops win it.
I was surprised. First L of the night, not my last by a long shot.
Yeah. Ops walk out with the victory, but we are not done because the Death Riders go and attack the Ops. Claudio specifically is very upset with Samoa Joe. He gets a chair, positions it around the neck of Samoa Joe, and stomps on it.
I was really surprised, Jack. I was certain somebody was going to come help these guys, like a returning Hook, maybe.
That's
It's
what
the
I was
only one,
thinking too.
but no one comes, Jack. It's like they missed their cue, and he just Pillmanizes Samoa Joe's neck, and I was weirded out too that they didn't even try to like beat up Hobbs and Shibata. Like,
Yeah.
why did Joe get singled out like this? Right? Like, it was weird.
Yeah, they take him out. Joe has to be taken out on a stretcher. And that leaves us looking towards the main event like that's one less person to help Hangman.
Put a little asterisk on that because I love the way you put it. I'm gonna raise questions later. Yes, Jack, it is only one person less.
But after that, we get our first casino gauntlet of the night. We have the men's casino gauntlet match to start us off. You thought
Oof,
the
how about
6-man
that?
match was chaotic? The gauntlet match should be even more chaotic.
You have a list of the participants?
Um, I do. Hold on. Let me pull it up because I had it and then I was looking at something else. Let's see. Hold on. I had the list and now it disappeared. Hold on. There
Well, you
is
do.
quite a lot of
I,
people in here though.
I don't know how you want to cover this. It's like it's a funny thing that we always forget, even though we've done it multiple times. Like, how do we talk about a Rumble?
Oh yeah, the Rumble's always a difficult one where we're just like, how do we talk about this? Here, let me see.
MJF starts, comes out with with MVP, has a big flag with his initials. He's the first entrant, and then like this particular kind of match, the Casino Royale, it's
Uh,
favorable to be one of the first ones in because golly, MJF can pin Mark Briscoe, and then it's all over. An interesting premise.
yeah, let's see. There was 14 men in total. It was Mark Briscoe, MJF. I can't find the complete list, so I'm just gonna name off the top of my head that I can remember. So MJF, Mark Briscoe, Bandito, Takeshita, Brody King, Roderick Strong, Anthony Bowens, um, Mystico, Josh Alexander, um, Juice Robinson was a surprise return. Ricochet, Ibushi, Beast Mordos, and then Max Caster. Those are the 14.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about Max Caster's entry because, boy, the way they did that was, oh man, I don't know what they were thinking.
The Beast Mortos changed his mask, and it's worse, and it upsets me. I'm an easygoing guy, Jack. I'm a simple man. His mask is gross.
Speaking of new changes, Juice Robinson makes his return with no beard.
That was weird. I was like, I guess he went back to no, Jack. I only know him with beard, NXT beard, New Japan beard. Yeah, it was an interesting choice. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Why did he shave? I was like, this doesn't look right.
No, it doesn't. The guns were back too. They
Yeah.
came to help him out. They were there to thwart off. Who were they there to thwart off?
The Gates of Agony, who I guess have recently aligned with Ricochet.
I like that trio. They should go for the trios championships.
Yeah, that one should work well. How about Mystico coming out and them trying to recreate like the crowd singing his entrance theme like it happened in Arena, Mexico, only to realize we're not in Mexico and the people here in this crowd don't know the Spanish to sing along to this song.
There were people in the crowd that knew it, the problem, Jack, was that we're in an open arena. When you're in a little building, it sounds great. When you're in a big arena, the sound escapes.
Yeah, I definitely heard some people talking about that, like in terms of like why the crowd didn't seem like as mic'd well in certain
Yeah.
points, and people were like, they got that roof open. I'm pretty sure, and even if they don't, like it's a larger stadium. There's a lot more empty space and like windows and stuff.
What got me was they're trying to recreate some moment where MJF is caught by surprise by Mystico's entrance. They got that camera on him, right? He's got that stupid look on his face, and Mystico's Tron is playing in the back. And it's like, what does he look so surprised for? He's in a gauntlet match, and we've known for weeks that he was going to be a part of it. Like, like it's not like a big return. Like he's been egging this guy on. Like
Yeah.
he's like, no, don't tell me he's right behind me. Shut up.
Oh man. Bandito and Takeshita both competed at Ring of Honor the night before. That was a good match. I need to watch it in full, but that's a potential match of the year contender right there. At least
I've heard. I wish. I wish Ring of Honor was more accessible.
Yeah.
That was definitely one I would have tuned in for.
Yeah. Definitely. Mark Briscoe was very much the MVP of this match. This man.
I was going to ask you who stood out the most to you, and then my answer to my own question was going to be Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, he was phenomenal in this match. He's low key making a case for wrestler of the year on my list, at least to be in like the top 5 consideration, because he's been doing a lot of great work here in AEW. My dad didn't like that Healy MJF had to bring up Jay in the build to this match. He's like, it's like I don't like it when they do this. He's like, I know it. They usually clear it, with the people backstage, but I don't like it.
Yeah, but I bet he was all about it when Christian is bringing up everyone's dead dad. I'm sure your dad was all about Charlotte Flair when she brought up Paige's, or was it Paige? I'm sure he was all about Paige bringing up Charlotte Flair's brother. This time, though, it's too far. Nah, that's like right up MJF's alley. I think I'd be disappointed if he didn't. Like, be consistent.
Oh man. Oh, my dad was also surprised. I mean, he doesn't watch a lot of AEW. He tries to catch the highlights here and there. He was surprised to see Josh Alexander's in AEW now.
Mm-hmm. He really moved from a big fish in TNA to a very small fish in AEW.
I think also joining the Don Callis family really does that for you.
He's a real third string quarterback there. I thought Takeshita was in that Big Boom AJ match when I saw the Don Callis family. I was like, oh no. What if they massacred my boy?
No, they threw in who was it? It was Trent,
Rocky
Rocky
Romero. Yeah,
Trent, Rocky, I can't even remember who the other 2 members of the Callis family that were in this match. I think Lance Archer, and I can't even remember who the last one was. Fletcher was in TNT. Takeshita was in this match. Alexander was in this match. What was a part of Don Callis family? Why am I forgetting?
And Okada.
Oh, Hechicero from CMLL,
Hechicero.
who randomly got added to the Don Callis family.
He's as much of a part of the Don Callis family as Gabe Kidd's a part of the Death Riders.
Man, I'll never forget when the Don Callis family started off and they showed that image of them, like Don Callis and the members looking like the 12 disciples at the Last Supper, and people were like, they're not actually gonna have 12 members in this faction, are they? And here we are now, present day, and it's like they're closer than you think.
Closer you ever would have thought they'd get. Hey, so I was playing a game with myself. I said, you know what I want to tell Jack? I want to look for the person who hit somebody else the hardest. I've been measuring how hard people hit each other because I'm like, I'm going to tell Jack what resonated with me as the person who hit the next person the hardest, because at the end of the night, the answer to that question should be Gunther, and Goldberg. Gunther should hit Goldberg harder than anybody hit anybody all day. So at this stage of the night, Jack, do you know who the big winner of this gauntlet match is for who hit who the hardest?
I do know because it audibly made my dad and I go, dang, when it happened. Are you talking about when Josh Alexander flung Ricochet into Takeshita in the corner, who hit him with a knee so loud it resonated throughout the whole arena?
I'm talking exactly, Jack, about that moment when Takeshita kneed Ricochet so hard, I think he started to grow hair.
That, oh my gosh, when that happened, I was just like, my goodness, we're watching a great one right now.
It was a good gauntlet match. I think it's about time we get to the end because the end ruined it for me, Jack.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's like we had some good names joining the mix. Ibushi came out at 12.
Honestly, I thought I was cooked because Ibushi's a part of it. I was like, Ibushi could win this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was still here.
Yeah, he's back from injury. Beast Morto shows up. And then there's this long period where this match just keeps going on. And you're like, why is it going on? And commentary's like, we got one more person that could be making it. Like, you never know who's going to make their entrance. The next person could be making their entrance, this and that. And it's like, they keep bringing up this new entrant, but it's been a while. And then the thing that's confusing about the Casino Gauntlet to so many people, especially like new viewers, is like, why isn't it consistent, like, between the things? Like, sometimes it takes 3 minutes for a new entrant. Sometimes they come out, like, 1 minute right after the next person. So everyone's just like, why are they taking so long? Who is it? Like, they just keep mentioning on commentary, this next entrant, this next entrant. It turns out to be Max Caster.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You wanted to spend a lot of time with him.
Yeah, he comes out, does this whole parade down to the ring, only to get, like, taken out immediately. I don't even remember, like, who he got attacked by, but then Bowens, and him start, like, fighting. Roderick Strong does something to it, and I forget. And then it just turns to the ring where Briscoe hits Jay Driller on Roderick Strong. You think he's going to win. MJF comes in, throws Mark Briscoe out the ring, steals the pin for the win.
Max Caster, commentary say, didn't even make it to the ring. He got beat up on the ramp. He was jaw-jacking Anthony Bowens, and somebody, comes up from behind. Yeah, Jack, I don't understand how we went, 45 minutes with 14 people if this was going to be how it ended. We didn't need to do any and all of this. If this, he throws Mark Briscoe out and steals his pin, we just did so much. Why? Why, Jack? Why? Also, why, Jack? MVP, who was at commentary for this whole match, was an absolute non-factor. He didn't do anything. And in fact, MJF's alignment with the Hurt Business had no impact on his success here. Except if somebody wanted to make the longest shot of an argument and say that it's helped his self-esteem. But Jack, they've had this whole big old look at us, we're pretending to be WWE with Sami Zayn bloodline story. And in the end, he just threw Mark Briscoe out and did what he's done time after time before.
Yeah. I was not too pleased with this finish. I was like, that was a good match, but man, that ending really, really takes it down a notch for me. Like the Max Caster stuff was just pointless. Why did we... I get it because he calls himself the best wrestler. Like, it's supposed to be like this big old build-up, but it's like...
You know what's stupid about Max Caster? He's trying to be annoying, so he tells the people to chant something that's impossible to chant. But Jack, they do it. They do it, and the best he can do is go, "You're not doing it right." Jack, they're doing it phenomenally. He literally has crowds of people going, "Max Caster, you're the best wrestler alive." He's trying to make it purposefully awkward. Nah, Jack, people will get behind it, so it doesn't even work as a bad joke,
Yeah.
But the only other argument I can see people make about MJF and defending this ending is that you have a lot of maybe new eyes on All In and AEW. So there's a lot of people who are unfamiliar with MJF and his shtick, and they're not over it yet. So they've tuned in because it's the biggest show ever, and I'm learning about these characters. And wow, look at this guy! What a jerk, right? I
Hmm.
guess I'll keep tuning in, and this is who he is. And it's like, it's like WWE when they got folks like reintroducing themselves. Like,
Hmm.
hi, I'm Rhea Ripley. Welcome to Netflix. Mommy's always on top. LOL. OMG. Black makeup. But like, for people who've been around for a minute, this is an opportunity to like do something exciting and interesting. Like, anyone else. Mark Briscoe, Ibushi, Kanosuke.
Yeah, well, they
Eh,
couldn't do Takesha because of the G1. That was my cope with it. I was like, they can't have Takesha when he's gonna do the G1. But then again, this doesn't mean an immediate title shot. Like they could have done it.
and like, can you imagine, Jack? Like, I'm supposed to watch that epic main event, and in the back of my mind, go, "Yep, MJF sitting in some stupid chair, stupidly watching this too, going, hey, I'm next." Hey, for the people listening at home, who did I pick? I said that Darby was going to come back.
Yeah,
He should have won this, and I want everyone to know who you picked, Jack.
I said Keith Lee because a man can dream.
Jack, there's an Instagram influencer that I saw behind the commentary table, and I didn't know it was him, except I saw him on Instagram, and yes, it was him. He reviews restaurants, and he's like really famous for being like funny and also super objective. And like he knows that restaurants get a bad rap. He's like, I'm gonna go and see if this is really as bad as the C+ on their sign, and give them a fair shake. And he's a fun, cool guy. And I only bring him up, Jack, because his name is literally
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. So you weren't wrong, Jack. Keith Lee was in the building.
He was in the building, just didn't make his return here.
Gosh.
Yeah, but that's one wrong for both of us. Oh man. But from there, we kind of take a turn a bit that everyone was questioning, like, man, it feels kind of weird to have this like right here after such a big match. Like people are kind of worried might offset the mood of this pay-per-view, but it was needed. Adam Cole comes out to the ring, and you can already tell that things aren't looking too good because you get the news the on the 0 hour that, oh, Adam Cole not cleared to wrestle, has to relinquish the title. He walks out. He's joined by Roderick Strong, who was just in that match, and Kyle O'Reilly, and all three men look visibly shaken. Adam Cole makes his way down, does his typical entrance, but you can tell there's like something else to it. And he gives a very heartfelt speech, basically just saying, wasn't cleared to wrestle. I apologize, like I really wanted to wrestle, but just not cleared to wrestle, got some health issues. And then, he scares a lot of people with his line saying that I don't even want to think about talking about retirement, you know? And he's very emotional in this, just saying that, like, wrestling is all he's ever loved, all he's ever wanted to do. And he wishes that he could have been here to defend, but just not be able to. And he even said something along the lines of, like, if this is, like, the last time I share a ring with you all, then I'm thankful for it all. And then, him, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong do a big old hug. They do one last Adam Cole baby in the ring. But, man, you could tell watching, like, especially just those two in the background, you knew something was up.
They had a shield hug, Jack.
Yeah.
We had talked about the stadium's effect on how loud the crowd could get. Jack, it was incredible how loud the second Adam Cole Babyface chant was compared to the first, which is interesting and telling because it means that people were definitely holding out the first time when he came out. And I think it's a testament to how much we take these guys for granted, that not everybody was on their feet to do that chant the first time. And it's only after the second, after his heartfelt announcements and the update on his health, that they all joined in that second time. But that second time, Jack, God, it was deafening, and I bet it was surreal to be a part of. They did one more before he leaves the ring too. God, my heart goes out to him, Jack. When I heard the update news that like he wasn't going to be a part of that match, I literally thought of retirement right away because my man has been through some stuff, and it's hard to believe he achieved so much in AEW because he's gone for so long in between like his All In main event in 2023.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was TNT champion until I went to that show, the 300th Dynamite. But yeah, definitely rooting for him. This comes right so soon after Kevin Owens telling us all that like we're not 100% sure what the future looks like for him. And yeah, we just only can only hope and pray for the best.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, because you think, I believe it was back in 2022, if I'm remembering correctly. It all started at Forbidden Door when it was Hangman, Jay White, Okada, and Adam Cole in that four-way. Remember, he goes down there with an injury, misses a lot of time. 2023 misses a lot of time breaking his ankle, and especially into 2024 a lot. Yeah, it ate into a lot of his time in 2024, makes his return, and now this, very concerning. But again, very heartfelt speech, and everyone's just like, well, how does the show go on from here? Like, how do they recover to not let this affect it so much? And that was the daunting task that the four-way TNT Championship match was dealt. Dustin Rhodes, Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara, all four men have to come out now and try and lift this crowd back up.
You can tell that the crowd is quiet for the first 75% of this match.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Garcia, in an attempt to get any kind of sounds out of the crowd, hits 3 superplexes off the top rope. That's some dead house show stuff,
Yeah.
There was a spot, I think it was Sammy Guevara. He's on the top rope. It looks like he's going to dive onto Danny Garcia in the ring. No, he moonsaults out of the ring onto Kyle Fletcher. That created a big reaction. They were definitely doing everything they could. Oh, how about the Golden Globe spot in the corner? Again, this felt very like we're just having fun in a house show where Danny Garcia's like, let me do it first. Bam, kicks Kyle O'Reilly. And then Sammy Guevara, he does the very dramatic, no, Dustin, let me do it. And then I'll do it. Yeah, these guys worked so hard to tell a story that they had to make up on the fly. Like, this match definitely felt like they didn't know what they were doing until they did it.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can definitely feel it affected the outcome. Not to jump to the end, but this was a good match. Did its job of getting the crowd back into the show after the heartfelt moment. And to do that, you can definitely tell the expected winner of this match was changed, because rather than have, even though he's getting over with the fans, rather than have a heel win, they give the Texas, I guess you would say, because they were talking about him winning in his home state is basically what I heard them saying. Dustin Rhodes gets the victory here. Pretty surprising.
Even if you think I think Dusty's from Texas.
Yeah, let me double check, because they were mentioning a lot of stuff about hometown hero and all that. So
yeah, you know what? I think Dusty Rhodes. Like, I've heard Cody Rhodes has a new podcast. What do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah,
it's good, Jack. Like, I've listened to a couple of episodes because Kevin Owens was on it, and like they have a lot of fun. Like, it's lighthearted, it doesn't take itself too seriously. Cody talks so much, like, for a show where he's interviewing people, he like literally interrupt them to go, I have a story for that, and it's really good. And I think I remember him saying that Dusty was like a different kind of Texan. Like, you got transplants, but then you got Texans. We talk about Texas, and like Shawn Michaels, he's another one.
Yeah, so Dustin and Dusty are from Austin, Texas. Cody was born in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And it shows.
Yeah, so Dustin gets the big old victory here.
And the third belt, this one means just a little bit more. But he feels good. We don't know for how long he's going to hold it. It was a real touching moment. And as you've said, Jack, it really kind of took people's minds off the big news we just had. It was nice to feel good again about something different. And it couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, and maybe it's due to the fact that he shaved his head. I don't know, but people, people, it feels like people have been comparing that one guy from NXT and now for some reason Kyle Fletcher to Randy Orton a lot, to the point where someone was saying they want like Fletcher after this, like to build a story. They want him to go on a Legend Killer esque run leading up to him beating, uh, you know,
Miles Bourne.
yeah, they want Fletcher to do like a Randy S Legends Killer run, like to beating Dustin. I don't know, probably at All Out or Forbidden Door, one of the two. They want him to beat him sometime. Again, we don't know how long Dustin's gonna hold this belt, but that's what I saw someone propose was like, especially because they're gonna be doing a residency in like Chicago. And I think they're even going to be doing like the ECW arena at some point again.
Yeah.
Because I know that I think they did it earlier. They might do it again. So people were just like throwing out names, like older names that he could face and beat up on the way.
You know what? Like, Randy Orton comparisons aside, I don't see it as much as the Miles Bourne one. Because that guy literally does power slams and and I think a cutter. Kyle Fletcher, like, is definitely good at. He's definitely going to benefit from beating up and probably bloodying somebody like Dustin Rhodes. You know what I mean? Somebody we all treasure. I wish he wasn't so obnoxious about his WWE run and future potential. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish he wasn't so loyal. I wish he wasn't as loyal as he is.
Yeah. What's it called? The main reason I like that proposed run that someone said is because they want it to end with Dustin and Fletcher facing off in a bull rope match.
You can do that. You can do that. You don't need a big. You don't need a big old to do. Dustin just goes, I want to beat you in a bull rope match, boy. You know.
Yeah, it could work out, you know.
Oh, it would be great. Like, because Kyle Fletcher, he's not Randy Orton, but he's kind of close to like Goldust, like with his like bright colors and his like form fitting anything and his, I don't want to say effeminate, but he just wears things that like I think most men in the arena don't aspire to wear. And that's a very Goldust. His like, pink glasses and his earrings, and it's like, there's a lot of choices. This is a far cry from Ozzy, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, definitely. It's so crazy to think.
Ozzy, yeah.
Now that you mention it, I think Mark Davis is technically a part of the Don Callis family. Now that you mention it, I was like, thinking
he's one of those disciples. He's one of the disciples in that painting in the back that you can kind of see.
Yeah. Oh man. Speaking of Aussie Open, their leader is in the next match, or their former leader.
I don't remember Swerve Strickland leading Aussie Open.
We got the Young Bucks versus Swerve and Offspray. Young Bucks EVP titles are on the line. Swerve and Offspray being able to challenge for the world title for a whole year is on the line.
Jack, a lot of people have a lot of strong and passionate things to say about WWE and how many commercials they run. Even though AEW does not run commercials, or at least as many as WWE does, I think something needs to be said about how much time they dedicate to entrances. Like, I think you hold up a WWE PLE and however long they spend on commercials, and you clock how long it takes these four to get to the ring, I think it's the same.
Not to mention Offspray and his affinity for Assassin's Creed is basically an ad insert.
And like JoJo sings Swerve song from the Indies, and I'm like, okay, there's like a very subtle nod to Bray. I'm like, why? Like, was he from Texas? Looking it up.
Gonna look that up because
why?
Google says Brooksville, Florida.
Yeah, that guy's super Florida. And you got this Bray Wyatt tribute. It's nowhere near his birthday, his death day, his place of birth. He's not never worked for this promotion, and no part of this match has anything to do with him or anything he represented, except maybe. Oh, you know what? Swerve wore striped pants once, like striped fiend pants. I think for one of those, like his death match with Hangman.
Yeah, I think it was that one.
Otherwise, it took me out, Jack. That's what I think I'm saying.
And then the Young Bucks old timey entrance.
Like again, like I don't know what we're doing.
What were your thoughts on the match, though, sir?
This was where I mean, the last few matches. This one had a lot going on. This one had a lot of guys I look forward to. Oh, you know what I liked about this match? So I've convinced myself, like I find myself enjoying Young Buck matches more if I just in my mind say that they are their character, Jack, the character they are on TV. They're the Alkalite Protection Agency from No Mercy on the N64 in the year 2000. Are you familiar with the game?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the APA
Yes.
and their role in that game?
Yes.
In story mode, they approach you in the hallway and they go, "Hey, do you want our services?" And if you say no, Jack, they challenge you to an impossible handicap match because you can't beat them. You have to separate them because they're unstoppable. And the best part, Jack, is if you say yes, I will take your services. They beat you up in that match anyway. So I'm like, all right. So if I just convince myself that they're just patterning themselves to the 2000 N64 game No Mercy and the APA chapter of that story mode, this is a lot funnier. And commentary said as much too. They were like, so they realized that when they're together, they're impossible. But if you separate them, you can get a lot of work done.
Oh, man. Yeah, and they played into that on commentary a bit, talking about, like, just because you're two good single stars doesn't mean you're going to be a good tag team. I don't know. Weirdly enough, I wasn't as in tune with this match.
Hmm.
Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it, but it really felt like I wasn't top of the line interested compared to other matches on the card.
Take it easy, tribalism. I hear it. WWE's great, and you think this is awful. Just say it, Jack.
Oh, man. But yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of good spots in this match.
There were.
I did find it funny that commentary was like, "Oh, Swerve Strickland isn't used to being in, tag team scenarios. He's used to being more of a solo guy. He's a former AEW tag team champion with Keith Lee."
That's funny.
Anything else stand out to you from this match? Sure. I picked the Young Bucks to win this match because I was fully expecting, again, doom and gloom leading to the main event.
Doom and gloom, yes, and I thought that it would be a very dramatic story to be told over the course of the next year when they both are eligible to challenge for the titles next year. I
Yeah.
thought like that was something that they were planting the seed for. No, they beat the Young Bucks with, pretty devastating looking finisher. It was the last call in the front and the hidden blade in the back to Matt Jackson. Pretty devastating.
Yeah. And I definitely agree. I don't know. I kind of feel like I would have been interested to see, like, what does Tony Khan do for a year with Hangman? This is the biggest, if Hangman wins, not to spoil the finish, if Hangman wins in the main event and, you want to make sure he gets redemption for this title reign. He's going to be your biggest star if he beats Moxley because this is your biggest story heading into the biggest show. How, like, I was very interested to see how would he embrace the challenge of not having two of his biggest stars be able to challenge for said title and still find a way to make that title reign feel special, feel, world title worthy, and it would lead to a lot of people needing to be elevated to that main event scene. But we don't go that route. Which I mean, it's still that isn't to say that that still can't happen. You know that people will
Yeah,
get eliminated during this reign.
and a new wrinkle, a new challenge is now what? Now that the Young Bucks are no longer on camera EVPs, what does that mean about their characters? Does this mean they're on TV more often? Does that mean they're fighting singles matches now? Like now that somebody else is calling the shots, what are they going to have these guys do? Because I'll tell you what my fear is, Jack. Nothing changes. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like Shane McMahon. If you beat The Undertaker at Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania 36 or 7, you can run Monday Night Raw. He lost. Well, he's going to run Monday Night Raw anyway.
Oh man, yeah, definitely interested to see how it goes after this all. But I don't know. I guess we'll learn more on Wednesday.
Ha, look at them. They got us, Jack. We got to tune in to find out.
Yeah.
Got
Our,
him.
our next match is one that I am very excited for. I know they technically did one before, but this is like the first women's casino gauntlet that feels as equally important as some of the men's ones that they've done, you know?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of women in this division to be showcased, to be put on display. So everyone's kind of excited to see how this all goes, you know?
I have a thought that I'm weighing whether I share it now or I share it later. I think like it thematically fits later. So do you have a list of who was a part of this women's casino gauntlet match?
Let me see if I can pull this one up. Because there was a lot of...
I'm trying to even think of who started it.
Chris was one of them.
Statlander and Megan Bain.
Yeah, I think Megan Bain was
Two powerhouses. And F5 was hit for sure. That Willow Nightingale's out there. There's if there wasn't a "This is wrestling" chant, there should have been, because the first few participants, things are looking crisp and looking good. And I bring that up, Jack, to say that there's another part of this match where things look less crisp, but they're trying, and they're all doing the best that they can. Won't name names, you will, but Julia Hart's a part of it. I love her song and her entrance. You got it.
I don't know why I didn't think to use Cage Match to pull it up, because that would have had it. But I also found this other site that has it with the entry order, so this one's even better.
Hey, excellent.
Okay, so Chris and Megan started us off. Then Willow came out. Then it was Ty Mello. Then it was Tekla. Then it was Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena making her return to AEW TV. I know she was a part of the Owen Hart tournament, but this is her big old return to a big show. Which I mean, there was no way the fans were going to allow Tony Khan to do this show here in Texas and not have Athena show up. Like I'm pretty sure people were gonna fight tooth and nail to get her.
Oh yeah, Jack. Oh yeah. I saw the Athena maniacs out there with their Athena shirts and their Athena signs. Yeah, they would have really gone into Tony Khan about her omission the night after Ring of Honor Supercard.
After her, it was Thunder Rosa, Shuri, who comes over from Stardom, and Alex Windsor. So those are our 12 women. 2 less than the men, but kind of...
It felt like more.
It felt like more to me, but that's... Oh, you want to know why it felt like more? Because there was all the people who showed up that weren't a part of the match.
I loved that. And my favorite of all of them was Blue Sky. No, not Blue Sky. That's the app.
Sky Blue.
Sky Blue. When she came in, Jack, like the managers, they were, outside, cheering their person on. When Julia Hart and Sky Blue came out, Sky Blue didn't wait at all. Like she walked up to whoever was standing outside and just kicked the kick out of her. Went into the ring. I think she went into the ring first, just like I don't care, and she just was laying into people. So much so that they wrote it into like the story of the match that Mina Shirakawa thinks that she wins because she pinned Sky Blue, and the ref's like, she's not a part of this match, and Mina Shirakawa's like, what do you mean?
Why is she here then?
I don't understand. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of women out here. I beat one of them up to the point where I held her down. What do you mean I put the wrong person?
yeah, it felt like more people because Megan Bain brought out Penelope Ford. Tay Mello brought out Anna Jay, and then also Harley Cameron showed up to fend off Penelope Ford.
I
Like
cannot
Texas.
believe, Jack, when Harley Cameron shows up in a very like Santino kind of way where like, out of frame of the camera, right? Perfectly, by the way. Like she don't know where the camera is. The camera is that good. But she comes into frame, she's got that mask, and the story being told by commentator is that someone broke her face, right? Like I can't believe that arena of people knew who she was because I'm like, who on earth is this random blank NPC character? You know what I mean? And like, I think now, Jack, is as good a time as any to tell you that right around the Spider Woman, you know her name?
Yeah, Tekla.
Sure. I felt like I was at the part of the MCU, like the Eternals part of the MCU, where I'm like, I know that people know who these people are, but I'm tired. You're like, the Eternals are great and they're awesome, and this is what they can do. I'm like, uh huh.
Yeah.
This is Shuri. Let me tell you about her. I'm like, uh huh.
Yeah. A lot. It was very chaotic at many points where I was just like, I'm losing track here.
100%.
But overall, I was really enjoying this one. A lot of people, I don't know. I kind of view this and the men's one on equal ground. Like I don't think one's better than the other. I don't know if either one completely wowed me. I was very happy with all the talent that was showcased.
Yeah.
And finally, after a period of time, you and I finally get a correct prediction in.
Golly, it's been a long night. But yes, Mina Shirakawa, who has just fumbled the basket or fumbled the bag with the Sky Blue incident, is somehow trying to do something. All I know is she gets got by the eclipse. I don't know if that's what she calls it now.
I don't know what she calls it now. I think they called it the O face, which I don't know.
That sounds about right. But yeah, she got hit by that somersault stunner off the top rope, amazing thing you know what's so funny? That move is so good, Jack. In that moment, I remembered her name was Ember Moon. I was like, oh man, remember that? Oh, remember when she used to do that? Remember she was like all the rage? It's cool that this much later, she's still a kind of a rage.
Yeah,
Jack, they did it. They did it to me again, Jack. So like, even though I picked her, I'm not thrilled about a champion winning a championship match. And it's at this point, Jack, where we've been sweating about the main event, and I text you and go, ooh, but that women's championship match, what do they want to do? They want to put Athena against Tony Storm or against Mercedes? I know the answer to that, and I don't like it.
yeah. Was definitely a bit more worried about that women's one after this. I was like, please no.
Please, no.
But from there, we move on to triple threat for the tag titles. The Hurt Syndicate defending their titles against Christian Cage and Nick Wayne and Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight.
With FTR at commentary.
FTR is on commentary.
I have to say two things, Jack. And these are all the things I have to say about this match. One, FTR are indistinguishable on the mic. You can't tell which one's F and which one's T. And then also, Jack, I was completely checked out for this match. I was on my phone. I was doing other things. I really felt a little tired and fatigued by the first half of the show, and I knew I needed to rest up for the last part. So you're going to have to carry the brunt of this one. I just know a match happened as I was in the room.
I unfortunately also know that a match happened.
Ah!
I mean, this happens to me no matter what company is throwing a show. There's always matches where I'm just like, I wish I was more interested, but I'm just not. Especially because this was one of those matches that like sure they've been kind of building like some beef between the Hurt Syndicate and Speedball and Kevin Knight, but it was like it wasn't until like the last couple weeks leading up to the show that they really went full effort with it. And then like in the last, it was like the last 2 weeks or so, that's when they added Christian's story to all of this. So it's just like,
Mm.
I don't know. I wasn't like super into it, you know?
And because the TNA championship match was changed from a singles match to a fatal four way, I also at this point in the match, Jack, in this point in the night, became really aware, not self aware, but I just became really cognizant of the fact that the average number of participants in a match tonight is like six. I'm like, there's so many people doing so many things at the same time. How refreshing was it when we got to the three build singles matches?
Yeah. This one was all right from my eyes, like from what I caught. Wasn't all too crazy, you know? It's more known for its post match stuff because FTR come out and they start beating up on Christian. And then Nick Wayne turns on Christian.
Nick Wayne's whole family, his mother, his brother, what's the guy's name?
Kip Sabian.
His brother, Kip Sabian.
Yeah, they all start beating up. They're going to hit him with a concerto when all of a sudden you think you know him.
He busts a penta. He busts the Jeff Hardy. He celebrates with the All In crowd that he has returned before, of course, addressing the matter in the ring.
Yeah. Adam Copeland makes his return to save Christian Cage, takes out both members of FTR with a spear.
Hey, Jack, your name's Jack, so you must recognize his name is Cope.
Oh, man. And then Cope tells Christian to find himself.
In a manner that is reminiscent of their first interaction after Cope's debut in AEW, where Christian had a different F word for him. He said, go, and everyone knew that he was going to get his receipt for that. And he said, find yourself. Ooh. I didn't mention this, Jack, about my experience at the 300th Dynamite, but the best part of 300 Dynamite is that there was no Cope and no Jericho. And what other insufferable person has there been this last couple of years? No Cope, no Jericho.
Mercedes Moné was at that show.
And she beat Mina Shirakawa in a match that she shouldn't have. Oh.
Oh, man.
But welcome back, Cope.
Yep.
Your name is Cope.
Probably looks to reunite with Christian sometime soon. Probably All In Canada.
Would they call themselves Cope and Christian?
What would they call themselves? Think of what they would call themselves.
I mean, in WWE, they were called Edge and Christian.
They're going to be called Go Find Yourself.
GFY. That sounds so dumb, Jack, that they just might do something like that. Mark, timestamp this bit right here so we can come back to it. We can be both excited and laugh and cry at the same time.
But from there, we move on to one of the three big matches that will close this show out. Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, defending her AEW World Championship against Mercedes Moné. And I know it was announced during the build, but I am so glad that this didn't turn into a winner-take-all match or for the TBS and women's championship. Just the women's championship is on the line.
I love that part of the story and that part of Tony Stark's character when she ran down Mercedes and said, "You need all them belts to fill whatever you're filling with them. I just need this one." And I'm like, hell yes. And Jack, when we get to this night part of the night in this match, I don't know if you know about the early 2000s WWE. They just bought and dissolved WCW, right?
Mm.
And they could not wait, Jack, to bring someone in to beat them mercilessly on TV. You know what I mean? Like definitively. Like it seemed like Vince McMahon was reliving his victory over WCW with every one of these.
Yeah.
Triple H was beating Kevin Nash, Booker T, Scott Steiner. Sting knew well enough to know to stay the heck away from all that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Diamond Dallas Page comes in, the people's champion, and they go, "Hey, how about we beat you with the Undertaker's 100-pound wife, Sarah, on Monday Night Raw," right? Like the amount of toxic flexing that was going on in the early 2000s, Jack. I only bring that up here because as Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné are facing off, I wanted so badly for Tony Khan to just get a little bit of that in him. I wanted him to just tell the world who was the definitive women's champion of the world and that it was his. Tony Storm beat Mercedes so definitively that you look back across the border and tell WWE, you can't touch this. I wanted Tony to just be like golden shovel, Triple H, reign of terror, you know? But I'm like, no, these people are too nice and too sweet and too kind and too fair. And stop it. Stop it.
Hey, you want to talk about entrances? You already know these next three matches are going to have all the entrance theme to it.
Tony Storm can take 8 days and I'm going to enjoy all the parts of it. Mercedes, I wasn't even in the same room. I'm sure I'm finishing whatever I was doing earlier.
Uh,
Jack, I'm so scared that I'm like, for some reason, Luther's gonna turn on Tony Storm and become the person that carries Mercedes belts. That's what they're gonna do to me.
oh man,
Why can't I be happy?
big time match though, sir. What'd you think of it?
It was so good, Jack. Oh, it was as if these two women knew that the WWE were gonna put on a whole women's PLE the day after, and they said, when they talk about women's wrestling this weekend, they're gonna talk about us. And they went out and did all the things.
Yeah, this match was pretty good. I really enjoyed this one. That's 2 years in a row that Tony has a really good match at All In.
I mean, this is like two PLEs in a row or three PLEs in a row. Like Jack, this has me thinking about that big ending, the final. What do they call it? The Hollywood ending
Oh
match
yeah,
with.
that one.
Hey, I'm thinking about that match, Jack. I'm like comparing the two throughout the entire match. I think there are times too where Mercedes has even allowed herself to look scared. You know, look like intimidated. Ah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I really liked this match, especially because uh, I don't know what's the way to put it. I feel like their styles really meshed well together.
Hmm.
Because I know a lot of people talked about this match when both women were in the WWE. I don't know, I just feel like they
Hmm.
really meshed well together. And I really like the progression Tony's had that, like, she's finally found, like, that perfect middle ground of having this over the top character, but not letting it affect her match output the way it kind of was when she first
Hmm.
started this character off.
Hmm.
Because I remember when she first started off, a lot of people had some complaints about the character because they were just like, she's leaning way too heavily into it and it's affecting like the matches, like quality
Yes.
wise. And like now, it really feels like she's found this perfect middle ground. And I'll never forget, when she lost that title, and we were like in the like epilogue of this character, if you will. Everyone's like, well, where do we go from here? How does she continue this character? And if she doesn't, how does she, you know, where does she pivot to from this character? if it's a new character going back to normal, or if she continues this character, how does she keep it going? And she's done a great job of keeping this character going and keeping it interesting.
I was listening to a podcast and they mentioned that if like we're in the third year of timeless Tony Storm, it hasn't aged at all. Like it hasn't overstayed its welcome. Like it could have. Like it's still as enjoyable today as it was when it started.
Yeah, I definitely agree. She has just done a phenomenal job.
There were some spots towards the end where like the kickouts they meant more and more. You know what I mean? Like, and it probably had to do with the stakes of the match. Like if there's any good to come out of Mercedes Monet's like crazy tour around the world, belt collector Mercedes, right? Like maybe this is one of those moments where the belt collector's stick it like makes sense or it adds to the match because I'm terrified, Jack. I'm like, that's all this is to this person. It's just another one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's stopping her from taking this to, you know who's stopping her? Tony Storm.
Yeah, and you mentioned about like each kick out many times. Like we saw Tony pulling out all sorts of stops, all sorts of moves, really showing like how much he was having to empty the arsenal to really add to that whole like looming threat that like is she going to lose?
She hit this crossroads looking thing that the commentators were like, "Whoa, what the heck even was that? Like, what do you call that?" And then like one of them, like Taz, goes, "Yo, brother, I don't think she's hit that in a while." And sure enough, leave it to Instagram to put a side by side of All In, her busting out this weird Cody like crossroads looking move, and then her doing it as Tony Storm in SmackDown.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, how about the her three Storm Zeros in a row?
Oh yeah.
Like, bam, pick her up, bam, and I'm like, she kicked out of that. I'm like, we're cooked, we're doomed. This is it.
Oh man. But in the end, Tony Storm comes out on top.
Not before kissing Mercedes Monet and hitting a avalanche Storm Zero. Crazy. Crowd were all about it.
You
Again,
know?
I mentioned this crowd. They were split. Let's go, Tony, CEO. Who's out there chatting CEO? Who are your names? I want you on a list. Who are these people?
Oh man. Yeah, but what a match. This was a good one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And it just sets the stage for the next two matches to try and see how can they follow. The next one is a winner take all because we are unifying two belts, but also making us all confused with the
It's
new
an
name.
what's so confusing, Jack? The international title and the continental title will be combined to make the unified title.
Yeah, and there was so much that I felt could have been explained better before we went into this match, but basically ended up learning after the match that the new title adopted the rules of one of the older matches, and I bring that up because I saw someone make like a funny note of it, so I'll bring it up at the end to not spoil the ending right away. But we are talking about Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada facing off against International Champion Kenny Omega, reigniting their rivalry from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But we are years down the line from the prime of this rivalry, and we're looking at two completely different wrestlers from that time point.
At the 300th Dynamite, I'll bring this up briefly. I was most excited to see Okada versus Ibushi, and I was talking to the guy sitting next to me, and I go, "Yeah, I'm excited about Okada versus Ibushi. You know who those guys are?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, it's a lot like seeing Metallica in 2025. You should have seen them 10 years ago. It's probably going to be a lot better than what we see tonight, but like." Them at like 70% is better than like most people on any given day.
Yeah, and I I think that's what I liked the most about this match, and I saw people mention it too, is that like they really the story of this match really showed the way time has passed with these two, you know? Like Okada is long gone from the New Japan epics, 45 plus minute matches, you know. He still has a couple of long matches, but like he's long gone from that like ace of the world 45-minute epics in the New Japan Tokyo Dome, you know, biggest
I
star.
I really felt that at the 300th Dynamite because they had a match that was like a tight 15. And I was like, that's so funny that like they got all the spots in you were kind of looking forward to, all the hits. And I'm like, yeah, they really distilled that to a tight 15, this thing that would have taken 30 to 40 minutes 10 years ago.
Yeah, and then you have Omega who, they're playing to the storyline, nearly died, diver- diverticulosis, or I forget how it's pronounced. Had inches of his stomach removed, like they mentioned, like his intestines removed. Older Omega, nearing probably his retirement soon, sometime down the line. Like, this is really a good showcase of how time ages our heroes in a way, like I saw someone describe it.
Speaking of time aging our heroes, Jim Ross is in commentary. And golly, Jack, I couldn't have been more grateful that he wasn't out there for Tony Storm. But you know who else is out there is Don Callis. He came out with Okada. I'm like, here we go. We're on some.
Here we
We're on
go.
some. This is it. We're not even gonna wait.
Uh,
What'd you think of the match, Jack?
I thought it was good. I
I
find it
also thought it
funny.
was good.
I find it funny. Someone mentioned this. They were like, "I rewatched this match and I still don't know at what point Ibushi came out." He's just
That's
like,
so funny too. So Jack, just like I was like, Luther is gonna turn on Tony. Why would they do this to me? Jack, I had the exact same anxiety about Ibushi. Like, there's no reason to. They haven't alluded that at all. But listen, man, you talked about it. You talked about that Last Supper painting. There's some blank faces, and why wouldn't Ibushi just come out and tombstone Kenny Omega and turn to the
the Judas, the Judas.
Judas? But you know what's funny? I bring up Don Callis. I resent him and everything he does to good matches. When it comes to Okada Ibushi at 300 Dynamite, Jack, he never once interfered. They don't beat up Ibushi until after the bell. And then here, the few times he does interact with Kenny, like I think it really worked because that crowd like exploded in reaction. When like he got up from commentary, threw his headphones off, and started punching him in the back of the head. Crowd were all over him. And then there's a part, I think we can jump ahead, where there's a big old pin, and he just pulls the ref by his leg out of the ring. And then crowd tore into him. That was good. Like, I don't like the crowd distracting themselves with him, with their chants at him, but like reacting to the things he was doing. That added a lot of effective drama to the match.
Yeah, and speaking of the drama, all that targeted of Omega's midsection.
So much of it, Jack, and it worked really well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that story. Really play into it, especially because like it's like those memes where like I've seen people bring it up in a wrestling comparison before. It's like when you have the game on very easy mode and you're in a boss fight and they're showing you the glowing red section to attack.
Yeah, that's
That is
very
what it is
funny.
for Omega, and that's why I'm super interested to see how they play into it more after this, because it's like I would really like if they found a way to like really lean into this like old man Omega sort of storyline where it's like, yeah, the dude nearly died, so how is it that he's going to continue? Like, how is he going to cope with essentially losing that best bout machine title through, like what's the way to put it? Like through no fault of his own, like
Uh-huh.
it's life that took that title away from that, like took a portion of his wrestling ability away from him, like through this life altering surgery and all that, like that almost, really badly affected his life. It's like, how does he take on that challenge? I haven't seen the movie yet, but I saw someone like talk about this. So Superman came out. Haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. But I
Neither have I.
saw people talking about like because people were like, oh, maybe Zod should be the next villain, and some guy was talking about he was like, enough. We've been cycling through Zod and Luthor for like a decade now. Superman has a bigger rogues gallery, and yes, we get it. Like Zod is there to present this physical challenge to Superman, but if this new movie proved anything, there's more story to be told in the emotional battle and how Superman tackles that with his like human side. Like how does he tackle a lot of things that require more out of him, like emotionally and mentally. And so, like, I
Yeah.
think the same thing about Kenny. It's like we all know subconsciously, like everyone knew going into this match, it wasn't going to be 2017, 2018 all over again. Like they're at a completely different point in time, and so I'm just very interested to see hopefully a storyline that tackles that with Omega, like having to come to the realization I'm no longer in my prime. I'm no longer in my prime, yet the fans love me anyways. But how do I continue on in a way that fulfills me enough, even though I know I'm in this new point in life where it's like I can't do what I used to, but how do I still get that same fulfillment out of this business that I love and put my whole life into, basically, Like, I think there's a really interesting story to be told there.
I agree. And there was like, you definitely saw some spots that I recognized from his match with Gabe Kidd in January.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of like his big dive over the top rope to the outside. Um, but like something that you said, I wonder if you allow me to jump to the finish of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that Kenny lost, I think that's a really cool way of going forward,
Yeah.
Um, and again, it wasn't at the hands of like that stupid Don Callis family. Like Don Callis interjected, but really it was Okada being, Okada, who, like I said, even at 70% is better than most. Like he'd like got that definitive win on him. His like that as clean as it could be win on him. And you have to think that like that'll play into whatever happens next, if like he's got this like confidence that he needs to rebuild. They'll run it back, I would imagine for sure. But just that like vulnerability that he lost this match, I was really surprised.
Yeah. Definitely. This is one of the matches that I'm most interested to see the fallout of, Like, more than any other
Mm,
match on All Out, I think this is the one I'm most interested in. Especially
yeah,
because with this unified championship and all the rumblings we've heard, it's like,
right.
how are we going to establish this going forward? Like, what's Okada's
Yeah,
direction? What's Omega's direction?
yeah. And Okada, by the way, just like in the last year, has just become like the most interesting version of himself he's ever been. Because I thought Rainmaker was boring. Maybe because I didn't speak Japanese, and maybe he was because he was, early PG era unbeatable John Cena levels of like this is getting old fast, right?
Mm.
But just I don't know, there's something else about him that like is more interesting. His like, flipping off the flipping off the what's it called? The crowd and being a little more heelish. It's like it's a refreshing take on the character Okada who like does that thing too, Jack, where it's like I really phone it in until I don't phone it in, and when he doesn't phone it in, you're like, oh, you're the Rainmaker, aren't you? Golly,
That Mike Bailey match at Double or Nothing was
yeah,
exactly that, where it's like I was fully expecting to not be interested, even though I like Mike Bailey. Like you heard me talking about him all last year, especially
yeah,
being in the tag
yeah.
team with Jake something and DPW. So I was like, I'm interested in Mike Bailey, but I was like, I don't know, man. Like Okada's been kind of phoning it in, and then that match happens, and like Bailey's doing a ton of the work, like at the start of the match, and I'm like, hold on a second, like he's really getting like the most of Okada, and then like in that final bit, Okada starts locking in. He hits him with that drop kick when he
Oh,
tries
that
to
drop kick.
when he tries to do that. When Bailey tries to do his finish, I'm like, this man, when he locks in, you get a really good version of him. And so like ever since then, it feels like he's been really locking in now, and it's like I hope they continue giving him that motivation to lock in with this reign, which I brought it up at the beginning. The thing I wanted to bring up, someone was like, "How boss is it of Okada to win this match with interference?" And now the title adopts the Continental rules, meaning no one can interfere in future matches for this title. So the man wins with interference, and
Wow.
now no longer has to worry about interference in his future matches.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about it is like the rain make um the ripcord clothesline. You know what I mean? Like, that's real hit or miss. And I bring it up to say that in this match, it only hit. And it looks so good. Because Kenny not only will make his own moves look good, but he has the capacity to make any move look good and devastating.
Yeah, this was a really good one. They were on quite the run these final three matches, and
Oh, 100%.
that leads us to our main event.
How are we doing on time?
We are at an hour and 35 minutes. Wait, is that correct? An hour 35?
95?
I think so. At first, I thought, man, wait, are we at the 2 hour mark? But no, I think we're at an hour and a half so far of this episode.
Just checking.
Yeah. The freedom of not being limited,
Hey.
which is something that definitely plays into last year for the MLB trade deadline. I did a video where I just left the thing recording so I could react to trades live. And I like doing that so much that this year I specifically told my job, hey, I can't work this day. I didn't tell them why, but I told them I can't work this day at all.
That's incredible.
I'm going to be doing, I told my dad, I want to do that same thing again. So I'm going to tell them I can't work the MLB trade deadline because I'm just going to sit there at my computer. I do stuff in the background, but anytime a trade happens, I pop right back in. It's been recording the entire time, and I just like cut it up.
Good for you.
But
But I know we're not going to have a lot to say about the main event. I mean, we're just going to be like, here's who won, and let's talk evolution and call it a day.
yeah, no one really cares about this main event. Right?
Nah.
Of course we care about this main event because Mr. Solis and I, it's been one of the big reasons him and I haven't tuned in to AEW much since like the end of last year.
Save us, Hangman. You're our only hope.
I don't want to spoil too much, but it's kind of crazy that this match and its result basically accomplished the mission of the Death Riders when they started out, but it's like everything in the middle did not accomplish what they set out to do.
Well, I've heard people pontificate and speculate that, like, all the non-finishes, dusty finishes, baloney finishes, kind of really had to do with their want to take this to the All In show in Texas. So much so that, at least for me, I resented this show. I'm like, get over this stupid show you're building to July. Build to April, please. Like, but yeah, John Moxley, he beat Daniel Bryan in October and has been just a menace. And like, people are, I've always been, I think, critical of his wrestling style. So like the guy on top with a real literal death grip on the championship, he's not particularly interesting physically, right? And it's like, when you have those predictable main events, Bloodline, Authority, shout them out, Jack. What other like impossible to beat factions have there been in the past?
House of Torture,
Bullet Club,
Bullet Club, who else? Damage Control, who lost almost every match in their existence.
Like we just had like literally 3 years worth of Bloodline, and you're like that. The AEW literally went, hold up, let me copy you. All right, but just don't make it obvious. Like it's just been an ordeal. But Jack, you and I coming into Saturday, we're like, hey, if anybody can put an end to all this, it's our millennial cowboy.
Yeah, and we talk about time. It's like this is a very different John Moxley than 2023 Moxley. Even like we're not going as far back as we did with Okada and Omega. Like I don't know. Like I look back on 2024 and I don't think a lot stood out to me with Moxley much. But it's like I think back to 2022 Moxley. I think back to even some of his stuff in 2023, like the Texas Death Match with Hangman at Revolution that year, is like this Moxley's a far cry from that Moxley, you know.
Yeah.
But he
What'd you
locked
think?
back into that form for this one.
What'd you think of? It's funny too because most of his shtick has been, wrestlers aren't who I think they should be. They should be more like me. And I don't think at any point the me he was referring to was the Moxley that came into this match
Yeah.
because that's not how he wrestled. You know what I mean? Like he's like a really obnoxious like fan of Bloodsport. Like what if a guy who likes Bloodsport like was given the platform to talk about it? Like that's what I inferred. And Bloodsport isn't the Texas death match at all. So Moxley is just like, all right, then I'll do this other thing that I'm actually really good at.
Yeah. But here we are. Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley. And I have to talk about it because it's just perfect.
Can I tell
storytelling.
you before you say it what you want to talk about right now because it's so perfect?
Yeah, it's perfect storytelling
You
at its
you
finest.
want to nerd out about how he came out to that song.
He came out to that song and came out that side of the tunnel.
Dang, I didn't even realize the tunnel part. But when I heard that song, Jack, I was like, Jack's eating this up. Jack's eating all this up.
Yeah, but I just love that like that song hits. And because of the story they've been telling with Hangman since the stuff with Swerve really happened,
Yeah.
the camera starts on one side thinking, oh, like this is where Hangman comes in. Like some people think, oh, it's a production mishap. Like no, it's subtle yet right in your face storytelling that like he finally comes out the tunnel of the baby face. He's finally embraced it, like he's back in good and what I forget what's the phrase they use, but he's back in good standings with the crowd, they're finally
Mm.
viewing him even despite all his mishaps, they're viewing him as the guy. Moxley and the crew come out in a big old pickup truck
Stupid. Stupid.
and we get right into the Texas death match. And they don't even try and go calmly into this thing.
When you say, Jack, we go right into it, we go right into it.
Yeah, this man Hangman starts stomping him out. This man
We
Moxley wants to put the
they
fork in his head.
I was about to say they both reveal that they each have a fork in their pocket.
I wish I could have gotten a recording of my dad's reaction when that spot happens, because like my dad, he's thinking, oh, when they do the blood spots, it's gonna be what you typically see, like a guy gets hit with the barbed wire steel chair, gets hit in the face, he's gonna go down, the camera's gonna pan away, and when they pan back, he's bleeding because he went and cut himself. No, this camera doesn't allow for any sort of uh,
Trickery.
trickery, illusion. They just show you straight up Hangman Adam Page stabbing a fork into the top of John Moxley's head, and you get to see the blood start opening up in different spots from the multiple stabs.
When it's bad, Jack, it's like you got hit in the chair in the back, and all of a sudden you're bleeding from the forehead. So this was wild, Jack. Like right away, you're like, this is going to be intense, and intense it was.
It's funny you bring up the whole getting hit in the back and then bleeding from your forehead. I'll never forget the time Moxley took a sling blade from Tanahashi, and then the next time you saw him, he was bleeding.
Well, it's a sling blade, Jack.
Oh man, but from here, I mean, things just ramp up because it's like you see people getting stabbed in the forehead with forks. That steel chair with the barbed wire makes an appearance. They're hitting each other with that. Tables are getting set up and used. And then the Death Riders start to show up. They start to try
Sure
and
do.
fight people off. They start beating up Hangman,
Amen.
trying to help him out. I think it's during this point, or I think it might have been before. I'm trying to remember when it happens. Marina gets put through a table by Hangman.
Marina gets put through a table by Hangman.
I think it's
I'm trying.
before. I think it's before because then that's what prompts the Death Riders to come out.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, and then before that, speaking about just things ramping up, broken glass is introduced, and we get to see a lot of that. Hangman having to crawl through the glass at one point or getting dragged through the glass.
Mhm.
The glass, Moxie getting dropped on the glass. I think they even tried to do like a power driver on the glass. They did a lot of stuff. But the Death Riders show up to help out Moxie. They start beating up Hangman. He starts fighting back. Osprey comes out to help out Paige, but he ends up getting taken out. They even repeat the Joe spot. They stomp on his neck with a chair. Has to
And the
be
fact that
stretchered
they
out.
and the fact that they repeat the Joe spot, I was wondering where Hobbs, where's Shibata?
That's what my
Like
dad said too.
they must have gone to the hospital with Joe. They're at his bedside. Hang in there, Joe. You'll make it out of this. Like that's what Shibata with his like voice memo voice, the woman voice.
Yeah.
Hang in there, Joe.
Yeah. So Osprey's taken out. They start beating up on Hangman more. And then we cut to the big screen where we see a snowy scene. Snowy
Uh-huh.
mountains. And the camera turns around to reveal Darby Allin.
I'll tell you what, Jack. It's wild to think that this is always the plan. And the evidence for that was when he was up on that mountain, he recorded this message.
Yeah. He records that message, giving out a warning to John Moxley.
He's going to take everything from him.
Yeah. We come back, everyone's thinking, oh man, Darby Allin coming out, Darby Allin coming out. Is anyone's music going to hit? My dad calls it about who's going to come out. Out comes in a
Blue
Blue Panther
Panther.
mask because he's a big nerd. Brian Danielson shows up in a Blue Panther mask, takes out Yuta with the Busaiku knee. My dad called this one. He called Danielson coming out. He beats up Gabe Kidd and, Claudio as well, gets them out of here. And then Darby Allin descends from the rafters to have a face-off with John Moxley.
This is my only part of this match I would want to redo. Not redo, but do differently. I wish he was descending from the roof of that stadium sooner so that he appeared ringside at the end of his video. Like, it took so long for him to come down, either because they were doing it slowly and safely or because he was like 2 miles above the ring. You know what I mean? Like, now pictures have surfaced of him being up there. Like, we're not in Madison Square Garden. You're in a giant stadium. You're so high. I wish they had started his descent sooner so that people could be excited in time with the video.
Yeah.
And then, golly, it looked like they were about to pull him up because he hadn't unhooked himself yet.
Yeah, but he gets out, has a face-off with Moxley. Paige uses that to hit a pair of buckshots on Moxley. Then hits him with a deadeye through a table at ringside.
Oof. Is it at this point, Jack, that the Young Bucks show up? Or are they already
That's
out here?
later.
Okay.
Yeah, because from here, then Moxie gets up. They have a bit more of a back and forth because Darby and Danielson fought off the rest of the Death Riders. Marina gets back up. They're beating up Hangman. They bring out that bed of nails, which I caught a note of when they first got a table out from me. I was like, oh, I already see that bed of nails there.
Yeah, that was poor planning and a little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah. But they bring it out. Moxley hits a stomp and a paradigm shift onto this bed of nails to Hangman.
The stomp didn't look as good as that paradigm shift did.
Yeah, well, because the camera work literally shows you Hangman going like this right before he
Yeah.
gets stomped onto the bed of nails. But yeah, paradigm shift looks a lot better. But Hangman is still getting back up after all of this. He's fighting through. So Moxley tells Marina, go get that briefcase with the title.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is another thing my dad wanted me to know. This entire time with Marina being there, my dad is like, where's Willow? Willow's been so involved with the Death Riders and
the
Marina.
female foil for Marina Shafir for most of this reign.
Yeah, so when she goes to get that briefcase, my dad's like, is Willow gonna pop up here finally? She goes to get that briefcase, only to see she's been handcuffed, and it's Prince Nana that is the one that handcuffed her to the time.
He was hiding there the whole time.
He hits his little dance in her face. She's handcuffed, and that is when the Young Bucks came out at some point.
They must have, yes.
They came out at some point. They might have came to take out Darby. I don't remember, but they came out at some point, and that's when Swerve shows up to take them out, and he shows up with a really big chain. Subtly throws it over to Hangman for him to use, and he uses that to hit a couple of buckshots on Moxley before wrapping that chain around him, throwing him over the top rope, and hanging him just like in the 2023 Texas Death Match at Revolution, and Moxley begins to lose it.
I saw somebody on Instagram shout him out for selling Panic like nobody else. Like, the way he's thrashing, the way his face is changing colors. This is a guy who's been walking around literally hunched over, you know what I mean? He has so much bravado and so much confidence and so much, swagger. All of it's out the window because he is being choked to death. You know what? Even though we've seen it before in that previous death match, I don't think there's anything wrong running it back and a man called Hangman winning a match of this caliber by hanging a man.
Yeah, and especially because it adds to it, because it's like Moxley knows what it's like to be in this position before, and it even adds to it because I love the way people like really analyze this finish where they're like, he knows he's been in it before. When he gets himself on the apron, he thinks that's going to save him, but then he realizes that's not going to save him. And I saw it perfectly. Again, I love the analysis people have been doing. I'm glad media literacy is still alive. People are like, this is a man who has built this shield around him. No pun intended.
Shield, pun intended or pun taken.
He's built this armor around him, this shield around him. They're gone. All of them are neutralized. He's on his own, and what's left is a man who is very much like his Shield brothers, insecure, and honestly, what you could say about the three of them, were weaker alone than they were together. Like they really helped each other out. They were stronger together than they are on their own. And so people are like, all that's left is this insecure, weak man, a bit insulting to Moxley, but they're like, as far as his character, it's like, he doesn't have that armor. And not only that, he thinks getting up on that apron will save him. He thinks because of, he knows like Hangman's character, maybe he'll show a little compassion. He'll loosen the grip a little, or he'll think, oh, Hangman's not really going to do this, but
he doesn't have it in him.
Yeah, he gets on this apron and realizes that's not stopping this any more than before. And that leaves him with one only option, the same option he had in 2023, to tap out.
Jack, I 100% caught on to the fact that he was seated on the apron at the end, because as he was hanging, I in my mind thought it was a lot like when wrestlers skin the cat in a Royal Rumble. I'm like, golly, he's so close to being sat on that apron. It's really gonna like hurt this moment if he catches his butt on the apron. But I thought exactly like you, Jack. I saw in his face, and when he tapped, that moment where he realized that even sitting on the apron and not hanging per se, nothing has been relieved. That the pressure is still there and that he's still in big old trouble. Like he counted on that, but catching himself there. And I was like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
For the listening audience, just that weird "wah" sound I make when something's really good.
Yeah. Hangman caps off this big show, this big storyline, this overarching storyline. How great is it that his 2 world title wins come from these years long of just character work and storytelling, for a promotion that catches a lot of flack, sometimes deserved, sometimes not. Flack for its lack of storytelling with big matches, a lot of times just throwing together what's the big match rather than having like a true story to it. We have this man who you can go back to previous episodes of Mr. Solis and I when we covered AEW. I have long proclaimed this man to be the main character, to be the protagonist. And how perfect is it when he holds up that title? When he finally gets that title out of the briefcase, this title that has been in there since October, November-ish of last year. How perfect is it that he holds that title with a sign in the back that says Hangman is the heart and soul of AEW?
How perfect is it, Jack? And I thought, Jack, he wasn't going to get that stupid briefcase open. I'm like, this company didn't even gimmick the briefcase. He's going to be out there having a Mark Henry moment with that cage. Oh, no. Who's going to help him? Hopefully they broke that briefcase. Why are they using a real briefcase? Why is it really locked? He's being dramatic, Jack. He's selling the moment. And how great is it, Jack? I knew you were having all kind of feelings and moments about this when he holds up that belt that has whose side plates on it?
Bryan Danielson.
They didn't even change the plates before Jon Moxley locked it away from everyone's eyes because we don't deserve it.
Yeah. It was so perfect. I enjoyed this match. I mean, I've been no stranger, or not stranger. I've not let it be known that or no, what's the way I want to word this? I'm not shied away from the fact that a lot of these violent matches that like AEW or some other companies will do, I enjoy them a lot. You know, I'm not really like into the deathmatch scene, you know, but like when these companies do stuff like this, like last year when Rev Pro did that dog collar match between Danny Luna and Alex Windsor, when Hangman and Swerve and Hangman and Moxley do Texas death matches, I'm like, they always end up being towards the top or somewhere in my list. I don't know why. It's weird. I'm not totally into the deathmatch scene, but they do something right here. And
I'll tell you what they did right, Jack. They told the story over a long period of time and they stuck with it. I've heard people say that to our chagrin, they stuck with it. There was a lot of points where we wanted to deviate. They had a plan. They had an end in mind. They built both characters up to that point. And they even built up the side characters, like all that stuff between between Swerve, Ospreay, and the Young Bucks. It like that random match, that random tag match. You're like, why are you wasting Swerve on a tag match with the Young Bucks? Jack it so that he can be out there and give him that chain to be the foil for the Young Bucks and have that moment with Hangman.
Yeah.
Weird. And then he turns back, Jack. Then he gives him that look that'll do, pig. That you did it. Or you know what I mean? A smile to a man who burnt his childhood home.
Yeah, and I like that people said, like, you know, let's not have revisionist history about this Moxie reign. Like, it did start off pretty badly, but, like, towards the end of it, it started doing its job. Like, it got the ops over, you know, it helped out Willow a lot. It helped out, like you said, Ospreay, Swerve, and Hangman, you know, like, it did a lot of good work towards the end of it. Doesn't make up for what happened in, like, the beginning parts of it, but, like, still, like, all that came to a head here. And it's like,
and so, like we've mentioned in the last few matches, what's next for Hangman? Because I'm not gonna lie, Jack. Now that the euphoria is over, right? A few days removed from the event, I don't remember his first reign being all that spectacular. I think he was really lost in the shuffle. I don't know if that was because that's what his character arc wanted me to know, or if he literally just got lost in the shuffle. But you know, I wonder, what his reign's gonna look like.
well, all I know is we don't have a certain Pepsi man to ruin it this time. You thought just because this was an AEW episode, you weren't going to get some classic CM Punk salt from me, but no.
I saw this. I've been saving it. I have to send it to you. It's a picture of Hangman with the belt from Saturday, and it's right next to a picture of CM Punk lying in the ring from Night of Champions, right next to the Riyadh ad on the mat, and they said everything is back how it should be in the world.
Oh man, but yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Like some point in this episode, I was talking about like what happens now, you know, because it's like like Tony Khan showed us in that first reign, he knows how to book the climax, but what's the resolution? You know, like what is this going to look like? You know, how are you going to maintain this Hangman reign and learn from the first time? You know.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
What a match! What a story! There's a
what a
reason
match.
in my top 10 list I said that this man and EO right now are like the ones that are challenging for that number one spot because the two of them just they keep blowing me away with their work.
And your top 10 wrestler video that I watched, you have some nerve putting Hangman at number 2.
No, he's at number
I
three.
thought he's at 3.
Yeah, it went Hangman, EO, Danielson as the top three.
I forgot how high heel was. I thought honestly that Hangman was right behind Bryan Danielson. I was like, it's absurd. Hangman should be his number 1.
Those two are
Like Bryan
challenging.
Danielson is some other guy, some other Jack's number 1. But Hangman's out there bleeding buckets out there for you, Jack, saving a company from the clutches of some psycho blood sport guy.
And Danielson's coming out in a Blue Panther mask.
Hey, that was your number 1 guy. There you was. Did you see him? Did you blink? With his gray beard.
Oh, man. But what a night
I,
that caps off.
what a night, Jack. And I don't know how much time you wanted to devote to like the wrestling sphere. I know you saw as much of Evolution as you saw. You definitely checked in that EO Sky match. But I just wondered and thought this, Jack. Like, it's crazy how, Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné had such a good match. But in one night, like I know WWE wanted to make a statement by putting Goldberg's match on the night of All In. They were like, yeah, when the dust settles, you're going to be talking about us at the end of the night. I think by accident, Jack, they made a better statement the next night with Evolution. They're like, we're going to own them with this Goldberg Saturday night's main event. No, actually, you kind of own them with Evolution because what you proved that night on Sunday was that you can have not just a Tony Storm Mercedes match, but you can have 4 of them, like on any given night. Like you have such a roster of women talent that you can have a whole card of Tony versus Mercedes matches where Tony Khan can at most have 1 and then a battle royale where I don't know or care about half of the participants.
Yeah, and it's no fault to those participants. It's just their booking. You know.
So like I just wanted to make that observation, like that Evolution surpassed all expectations, as I think the women do very regularly. And that crowd was there to support them and to cheer them. Jack, they were cheering for Charlotte. I was like, that's why I picked them. I picked Charlotte and Alexa to win that tag match because I haven't been watching, but they got her paired with Alexa, and it looked like they were doing like all kind of PR, like damage control, pun intended, because they were like trying to rebuild Charlotte Flair. And look at her having fun and smiling and getting beat up.
Yeah. I want to go back and rewatch the Intercontinental Triple Threat because I didn't get to watch it in full.
Yeah.
But I caught a majority of it. I'm actually going to calculate the totals right now. I know we're not going to cover it like match for match, especially because this episode has hit the 2-hour mark and obviously, But
Yeah.
this one technically still does count towards our rankings because it is a WWE PLE.
Oh, dang.
I'm calculating what we all got correct. I think I walked out of this one better than the rest of us. Which, speaking of, Mr. Solis walked out with, if we're not counting the pre-show, 3 correct guesses at All In.
3?
You had Tony Storm, Athena, and the Hurt Syndicate as your correct.
That's so funny that I guessed the Hurt Syndicate and I didn't even watch that match. 3, though. You know what? I did better than I thought. Because after Tony Storm's win, I was like, you know what? I completely forgot I picked Athena. I was like, golly, I got 1.
Oh, man. But I'm calculating over here. I'm trying to see off the top of my head. Right now, you only have 1 point at Evolution.
Jeez Louise.
I had myself a good night. Let's see. Hold on. It was funny when we were doing predictions. When we got to Tiffany and Trish Stratus, I looked at my dad. I'm like, this should be a free point for all of us. And unfortunately, the main event, none of us get a point. We can talk about the main event for just a little bit because it was.
I think of anything that happened in Evolution, the main event is definitely worth talking about.
So my dad walked out with 4 points, I walked out with five, and you walked out with two. That
Welp.
puts you at 21. My dad, let's see, 4 points, 17. Also 21.
Oh no.
One, two, three, four, five. Me with five. I was at 16 points. That ties us all up at 21.
I've let this happen. I've doomed myself with my hubris.
Oh, man. I
My
find it
faith.
funny. All three of us picked Jordan Grace to win. We all got it wrong. You and my
Jack,
dad both went Naomi. I went Jade.
um, when I said in Tony Storm's match, Luther's going to turn on her and they're going to ruin this for me, or Ibushi's going to turn on him and they're going to ruin this for me, or anyone could have turned on Hangman and ruined this for me. Imagine, Jack, it was on Sunday when Blake Monroe turned on Jordan Grace and ruined this for me. I was like, well, I knew it was going to happen at some point this weekend.
And, speaking about, like, the hangman stuff, I forgot to mention, people had me so paranoid in the days leading up when they were like, what if Jack Perry returns and costs Hangman this title match?
Yes.
I'm like, I will stop watching AEW if that happens.
Golly. We'll
But,
take up that face slapping sport that Dana White's a part of or something. We'll start recapping that.
oh, man. But Evolution, the main talking point, other than, a fantastic night of wrestling, the main event. The main event.
The main event, which I saw multiple people, including the crowd in attendance, really recognize this match as it was happening as like a moment in history, Jack. They were like, this is one of the greatest matches we've ever seen.
Yeah. I was really
Sure hope
enjoying
nothing
this
ruins it.
Yeah, I was really enjoying this match. I was like really surprised by all that they were doing, especially because of like when the ref goes down, they start
Yes.
doing a whole lot of stuff outside. Like the EO dive and all that, and I'm like, man, there's some really good stuff. And I'm not at all like since we're removed, 2 days removed from it, and I've had time to think about it. It's like I'm not too upset at the cash in, but at the same time, it was like, I don't know if it helped out this match in a way, Because, yes, it was a shocking moment, fair play. No one really saw it coming in a way. But, man, as much crap as people were giving, the fact that we were running Io and Rhea back again, they know how to match up really well with one another, Like, I was watching this match and I'm like, even though there's another match of theirs, the one in Mania with Bianca, and even the one on Raw that they had at the start of the year when Io won it, I was like, even though, like, I could look at those two and make an argument for them at, like, top 10, it's like, man, am I going to make an argument to have, like, this one on there as well as, like, the Mania match in my top 10, like, having two of them in here? Because I don't like to, like, do repeats so often, but I'm like, am I going to have Io and Rhea in a match twice on my top 10? And then the finish happens and I'm like, it's kind of like the Casino Gauntlets where it's like just that little thing that kind of knocks it down for me. And I'm just
Yeah, like,
uh,
I don't know if we needed to go this hard.
yeah, especially if you knew that's what you were going to do. It's like, I don't know. I kind of would have preferred to be let down by the match instead.
And I'll tell you what, like, I thought for a babyface versus babyface match, this had no story. The promo where Io challenged Rhea or Rhea challenge, it was the most awkward thing in the world. It was like you went out there with no bullet points and it shows. But like, I like the story that Rhea's never beaten Io. This has to do with the championship and getting it back, but also she needs to beat this woman once and for all, right? And she got close. She got close, right? I loved all the stuff on the outside. When the ref bump happened, I thought something else was going to happen because that's what happens. But it was the reason that they went outside for as long as they were. And we're like, hey, what a neat, cool little sub chapter or subplot that made, they did crazy things in crazy places, like to keep people engaged and to like, garner that this is awesome chant and make this different from their other matches. And I'll tell you what, Jack, I'm all about that cash in. Like, I loved it. I loved that no one saw it coming, that no one predicted it, that it worked, right? and like the prospect of a triple threat between them all at SummerSlam is exciting, and like Naomi getting hers. Like I've been waiting for this since she came back last year at the Rumble, and it's just like, so what they bring her back for? What did they promise her? You know what I mean? Like, and like I feel like so much of this is just her, the caution tape, the proceed with caution, the like razor blades. She just fully commits to this sort of stuff, and it's exciting and awesome. I think she should have beat Jade. Like just like the Oscar match, Jade shouldn't have won that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fine. I loved her promo after on Raw. If you watched it, Naomi goes, I'm sick of that stuff on SmackDown. I'm done with that stuff on SmackDown." And it was very like, you love that kind of thing, Jack. That like very clear reasoning. Like she's like on Raw to get away from all the drama, but she's only interjected herself into more drama.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not as mad about it as I was like when it first happened, but man, I don't
Are
know.
you sure,
Like,
Jack? Because I saw you posting, cancel your subscription, cancel WWE, AEW tribalism for life.
the only thing that it did was really make me more angry that like EO didn't get a better reign. Like that, I'm telling you, that Mania match had me convinced.
Oh, that's funny. You're right. Like she didn't even defend it like at all.
Yeah, I was like that Mania match had me like this is my women's wrestler of the year right here. Like she's gonna be in like the top champion reign of the year. You know,
You even had her over Hangman.
well, this was before Hangman because Hangman back in April wasn't on. I mean, he was building towards this path, but like back in April, I don't know if I was like I think I was still fully convinced that Tony Khan was obsessed with Darby Allin beating Moxley. That I was like, they're not gonna do it.
That's so funny.
But I mean, hey, both shows looking a lot better, especially because I saw people a lot more positive about Raw and like the build for SummerSlam now. Like a lot more positive than heading into All In. Because oh my goodness, I'll never forget when they posted like, oh, you know, we got the Great American Bash, Saturday Night Main Event, and Evolution, and you go and look in the replies, and everyone's like, we all about AEW now. Like they're posting the card for AEW, like we're gonna be watching this, and like now. All because of Evolution, because of like the change in booking, it's like people are kind of like evenly interested, you know?
Yeah. That Evolution show did not sell out. You saw some empty seats up in the rafters and some angles, but I really am excited with how well Evolution happened. Like, I'm glad it was as good a show as it was. I started to watch the Great American Bash Jack in the middle of the Javon Evans versus that guy I don't care about, but his favorite wrestler was Abyss, and it shows. I couldn't even finish. I was like, I'm gonna have this in the background later. But I bring that up. Like, there was this YouTube channel that put a poll up going, "What was the best show of the weekend?" And Jack, can you believe that Great American Bash got like 5%? I'm like, who click? It has to just be the trolls. It's just them trolls clicking this one. Don't. How dare you, sirs?
Oh man, yeah.
Hey, I also watched on Friday GCW Boss of All Bosses because Shotzi Blackheart was going to fight Matt Cardona for the role of Indie God.
Mm-hmm.
And a match, their match was very good. Their match was like, I wanted to talk about it with you or at least bring it up. Shotzi versus Matt Cardona. But a match on the same card, it was this guy named Sam Stackhouse, this giant man. He's like 500 something pounds, big guy, right? He fought in an I Quit match against a guy named Casey Orso. Do you know who Casey Orso is?
The name sounds familiar, but
It shouldn't, except if you knew that on Joey Janela's spring break, Fuego del Sol lost his mask in a mask versus career match with Atticus Cogar. So this guy, Sam Stackhouse, the big giant guy, he's been really remorseful and sorry that Fuego del Sol lost his mask. It's his friend. He wants to help him out. But Fuego del Sol, no longer wearing his mask, is super obnoxious heel Casey Orso turned on his friend. And they had a very compelling I Quit match for a GCW show.
interesting.
It was like, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I have so much to catch up on, and it's like
Hey, you got a couple of days to catch up on it too, because you know what starts this weekend?
What starts this weekend?
The
Oh,
G1.
that's right.
That's this weekend. Everything I do this week is to free my calendar up for this weekend.
I think Thursday is my off day. Book me in to watch Takeshita's match.
Yeah.
Well, man. So much to look forward to. Not enough time.
There's my sister's catchphrase. There's no time.
Oh, man. But anything else to say about this wonderful weekend of wrestling, sir?
I think the sun shone a little brighter. I think the birds' chirps were a little higher pitched on Sunday after Hangman beat John Moxley and the Death Riders as definitively as he did.
I was so glad I called out of work to watch Hangman win that title.
That was worth it.
I had totally forgotten to ask for the day off like weeks ago, like until I remember. I was like, snap, Superman's coming out. All In is on that day. I forgot to tell them I can't work that day.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? I've accumulated enough sick time to cover that shift that day.
Woo.
We're using it.
Funny adult thing you can look forward to. I have a vacation check because I left Bloomfield. They're going to give me in a check, sir, the amount of vacation I didn't use. My ship is coming in. I have no idea how much is on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then this Thursday, I'm hoping to watch Superman finally.
Oh, nice. We'll see if I ever get to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I've heard a lot of good things, and I'm also just excited for James Gunn's vision of the DCU. Although he is doing like late stage MCU stuff with like a lot of obscure characters, and I'm just like how you were saying earlier, people are excited for you, but I don't know you. Or it's like when people do fan casts, and I have to remember I don't watch a lot of shows and movies, so I'm just like, I don't know who you are. But with that all being said, thank you all for joining for this episode. Rejoice that Hangman Adam Page is our champion of the world right now.
He put out a really cool tweet that said, I don't have the words, but I'm going to try to come up with them before Wednesday. What a professional. Even telling us to tune in tomorrow.
That's my champion right there. That's
your number 3.
That's number 3 for now. We never know how things can turn out by the end of his career. But man, he's making that fight for number 1 because this man, he's just been... I mean, the biggest benefit to people like him, and especially like Tony Storm right now, they're younger than we think they are. You know, like Tony...
I just saw that. Tony Storm's like 28 years old.
Yeah, like Tony can be doing this for a while. You know, Hangman has a decade or so in him still.
You know what surprised me about Tony Storm? I think it's because her character is supposedly like 120. Like, she's like this 28-year-old.
Oh, man. But that all being said, thank you all for joining for another episode. I've been Jack, joined by my guest,
Mr. Solis.
Thank you all for joining for this episode, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.